Hello, how are you?
Hello, good, thanks. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks so much for joining me again to chat about the album.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, really exciting times here. Like, how do you feel that this is coming out so very soon?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's been such a long time coming, and there's been so many dates that we thought it was coming out on. And so it's one of those things where when things kind of like this happen, it's like I'll believe it when I see it. But it's obviously coming out, and I'm so excited for it. It's a really good feeling.
Yeah, that makes sense too, because I thought I was losing my mind because when I saw the date, it was Feb 10. I thought it was earlier, and I'm like, did I get that wrong?
Yeah.
Or yeah, but it's great to hear that things are happening and coming out for you. Do you have any big celebrations planned for the big release?
Well, actually, we're going to be in Tasmania for Party in the Paddock. Like we're leaving on the 10th, to play on the 11th. So I guess we'll have some beers in the Virgin Lounge, and then we'll do something that night, or go to the festival, and then play a show the next day. So I'll be hanging out with my band and my managers. So it'll be really fun. I guess that's like kind of the way of celebrating, which is pretty ideal, actually.
Yeah, that sounds great. No better way to celebrate than that. And what are some of like the inspirations behind this album?
It's kind of like a big piece of work that has been on the back burner for a really long time, and I finally got the opportunity to record all these songs. So it was just like ordering them to make them work, I guess. And the inspirations are just I guess behind the title of Clash of the Substance. So it's a bunch of substances, just drugs, alcohol, partying, puberty, and just like emotions, mostly emotions, just clashing all these different substances and seeing how they react with your chemicals in your head and your heart. Yeah, it's just a bunch of substances and just a bunch of it's pretty much my growing up record. There's just a bunch of songs that mark pivotal times in my life.
Yeah, I think that's great. And speaking of clashes, I love how unique the album is because you've got like the shorter demos, you've got the longer songs, you've also got like some spoken word. Like, tell me more about the creative process and combining all that together into the album.
Yeah, well, I really wanted to have some little interludes in between the songs, and some of them kind of came came into place really naturally, and some we made. I think there's only three, to be honest, but no, there's three. Yeah, there's three or four of them, I think. But yeah, I really wanted them to have those kind of little ladders to the next song, because a huge inspiration for me is Frank Ocean and his album Orange, and it sounds like you're listening in from the inside of a taxi. With in between songs, it sounds like someone's changing the channels on the radio, which is so cool. And I'd love to kind of think about it more for the next album and make it really have a heap more of those little interludes, because I just think they're so fun and so clever. But yeah, the little interludes in this song, in this album, are like G Flip, Aiden, and I are jamming and creating Happy Hangover, which is really cool. So that plays before Happy Hangover, and then there's just a song of me vaping and singing a cappella, which goes into the vape song. And then there's my favorite one is just all my friends telling the story about how I greened out before, actually after playing Cyclone. So Cyclone's about me greening out, and then we have a little interlude of all my friends telling how they felt when they thought that I was going to pass away that night. So it's a really fun little mix of things, and yeah, I'm so glad that my friends could come on it too and just speak over
I
it.
think it's great. And it gives that personal connection to what goes on behind making the albums. Because I love that one before Vape Song as well that leads into it. So it's really nice. But I guess
Thank
speaking
you.
of that's okay. Speaking of the flowing into songs, how does that go, I guess, now for you as a day and age where people don't always listen to albums in order? They might just put it on Spotify and they might not get that flows into the next song.
Totally. I mean, that's totally fine, I guess. Um, I guess if I had heaps more of the interludes, and maybe thought about it too much, then it wouldn't really make sense. But I think especially because all of these songs are written literally years apart from each other, that it's totally fine. But I totally understand it. Our attention span as, kids and teens and adults has just gone down so much. So I don't expect everyone to listen to a whole album start to finish, but it's so special when you do. And I feel there's a lot of um it's just really nice to do that these days, because it's just you don't do it as often as we used to. We just listen to singles and EPs sometimes. But yeah, it's something that I want to do more, listen to a bunch more albums, because that's how you draw inspiration as well and find what you love.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's great, especially when your album, because it's all got that universal theme. So it makes sense to listen to that album in an order, and it'd be great if more people could listen to albums like that.
Totally.
And I'd love to hear more about your creative process, because your music is so unique. Like even before you hear the vocals, you hear the guitar riffs and you just know it's going to be a Hope D song.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess like well, a lot of my songs actually, especially the ones that are years old, I kind of wrote them when I was a cover artist. So I'd always just be like looping for like 3 hours, 4 hours, just playing background music. And sometimes I would just like start to play some chords and then I'd find a riff and then that kind of stuck. And then I'd go home and then I'd write a song. So that's kind of how like Emerald was made, and like some of my old stuff, all of my old stuff too. But Emerald and Fragile too, even. Yeah, so like that's kind of the process for me for all of these songs. But now it's very different because I don't loop anymore, and I don't really like go through that like experience of sitting down and creating the riffs. It's more like I get the lyrics first, try and put them to chords, or I get the chords first, put them to words, and then try and figure out riffs from what I'm singing. Because I feel like there's a lot of, when your brain connects like a riff of a sound of an instrument and like a melody of some lyrics, like it's a lot more digestible and easier to listen to, and we like really love that. So yeah, that's kind of how I do it. I kind of it's a bit of a recipe, I guess. Like lyrics are the most important thing for me though, for sure. Like I make sure that's like the best it can be, and then like mess around with all the sounds in it.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much for sharing that process, because yeah, as I said, it's really unique. And I think my favorite bit of your songs is the bridge and how it just flows in. It's different, but flows back into like the meaning of the song, which is great. Yeah.
Totally. Thank you.
That's okay. And yeah, so the theme is clash of the substance. And I know your statement is that you won't be responsible for certain decisions made. So tell me more about that and what that statement means for you for this album.
I guess just like things happen all the time and we have like no control over them. And, you know, 100% of the time we're all just like figuring things out by guessing and checking and trial and error. And like, and we all have different coping strategies and coping mechanisms, whether that's like, you know, putting on your favorite show and just like leaving the world for a while, which I love doing, and like avoidance, or just like drinking, or like doing drugs, or like, you know, going for walks and stuff. It's just like all these things happen to us and we all have different ways of kind of escaping it when it gets too bad. And so yeah, I think that just acknowledging that everyone, it's like a really interesting thing that kind of like ties into it too, is like I used to be really obsessed with the concept of sonder, which is like when you realize how everyone that you pass on the street, even if like you have no idea who they are, especially if you don't have any idea who they are, and you know like what you're going through, and you know that you have like this massive schedule for the day and you're like kind of stressed, or like, you know, you've got all these things on that weekend. It's like just passing someone on the street and realizing that they have that exact same thing going on in their lives. And that's just like so mind-blowing, because it's so easy for us to just think that we're the center of the universe and no one else goes through the kind of thing that we go through. But I think like realizing the connection that we all have together, like no matter if you know someone or barely know someone or they're your best friend, I think that's just a really cool thing to acknowledge, if that kind of answers the question.
It definitely does, yeah, and that's great, because I think that's what makes people relate to music as well, like recognizing that people have the same experiences that we do as well.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're kicking off a tour to go hand in hand with this album. How do you feel about that? Like that's so big and exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's going to be really cool because it's like all my favorite places, like with my favorite people, and it's just like 5 dates. So I think it'll be really special because we went on tour last year too, for Hate Goodbyes. But it was quite a few dates, and you know, we had to cancel some, like because we got sick, or like my voice just completely clunked out, and it was just so tiring, which didn't take away from the music or the experience, because obviously it's just like the nicest, funnest thing to share your music to all these different places and all these different people that, you know, want to hear it. But I'm really excited for this one because it will just be like full energy, full excitement for all of the stops, and touring with like the Dandies, who are like some of my best friends, and Asher Jeffries, who I love so much. And it's going to be really fun. And like the band and I are going to be bringing like a completely new setup, because Brando, who used to play guitar, is not in the band anymore, focusing on their own music, which is amazing. And we have tracks, so it's going to be just like a bigger sound. It's going to be different sound. It's just going to be a completely different experience. And I'm really excited to share that with everyone once I know what it looks like as well, because we're still practicing.
Yeah, that sounds great. Like it sounds like it's going to be a super fun tour for everyone involved.
For
You mentioned
sure.
like 5 days. Do you feel like for as a musician, is it more stressful when it's shorter, or do you prefer when it's more spread out in between shows?
Yeah, well, I'm keen to like experience both sides of that properly because I guess I'm still fresh into touring. But I think I think I would find it more stressful. I don't know really because last time it was heaps of dates and we also had like Groove in the Moo in the mix. And that was really fun, but it was a bit stressful. Like luckily I had like my manager and like everyone was on the ball for it. So it can get so stressful when you just like I didn't know what I was doing 100% of that time, but people just told me I had to be at the airport at this time and I had to be here at this time. But I'm way more into it now, so I feel like it will be better because I'll be it's more digestible information for 5 dates rather than like 11 or something. So it's going to be a lot more, my brain will be more switched on. And I think it will be better overall for everyone involved because of that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, for sure. I love the merch that you've released for the album and tour as well. Did you design them or who designed your merch?
No, Monique, who does all my album artwork, like she did the Hey Goodbyes to Emeralds, and then Senseless is the album artwork for Clash of the Substance. She did that all, and she's so incredible. Like, I love the album cover because it's generally looks exactly like my room. It's just like messy and like chaotic, but it's like not a mess to me. It's just like so many things around the walls and like posters and random things that are all memories to me, but most of them because so much time has passed. I look at them now and I'm like, I have no idea what that means or what that was
It's
from or what
organized.
that's for. What'd you say?
I said it's an organized mess because you know where things are.
Yeah. Exactly. Chaotic organization. Yeah, that's exactly how I think. But so she did the album artwork, and then there's like an egg on the wall that says Hope D and a Coke can. So just took that and put it on some shirts, which is cool.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of like the design, I heard maybe a lucky winner might be able to, if they purchase some merch, get to design a tattoo for you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is going to happen. Yeah, for sure. I've done that once before, and it worked out really well because Molly, who won, is actually an artist, and she actually designed my posters for Hey Goodbyes, like the tour artwork for that, and it generally was the first name that got picked on the wheel. But yeah, that's happened before, but this time it's just going to be like a small one because we kind of want to try and get it done like at a cool location, and not a typical tattoo studio. So like we'll see how that goes. But yeah, they're gonna be able to design a little simple tattoo for me that'll have forever. And I just have so many things on my body that are all memories that I won't forget. Not unlike the things on my wall. So like if it's on me for life, then that's a cool memory. It'll be cool. I'm excited to see what people come up with.
Yeah, that's definitely sick. Are you a bit nervous knowing that it could be anything?
Yeah. Just a little bit. Surely, like it'll be fine, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And look, you've got enough tattoos that if it's not the best scene, it can blend in with the others. You'll be fine.
Totally. Exactly.
No. Going back to the album, like my personal favorite is Doormat. I feel like that's one of the ones I think you've performed at festivals. I feel like I've heard it like before, like live, and I feel like it's just relatable and also catchy. Do you have a favorite from the album?
Yeah, it's actually Doormat as well. So thank you for that. I'm so glad you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite. It was actually written like this time last year, like it might have been finished or nearly finished this time last year. So it's like the newest song from the album, which is really cool. And then we just recorded it last year in May to add on to it, even though the recording process had already been done probably September in 2021, and then we recorded Doormat in 2022 May. So yeah, it's really new and it's fresh, and I feel like that's maybe why I love it the most as well, or because it's just like a really sad song, which I think I love that about it too. But also Brando, who used to play with me too, co-wrote it with me, and I really love it for that as well because it's like whenever I get to play it live now too, or whenever I listen to it, it's like Brando's in there as well because I miss them so much playing with me. But we're still friends and we see each other a lot, and we'll probably see each other more now because we'll be forced to hang out instead of just seeing them at band practice and stuff. But yeah, that's definitely my favorite song for sure.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's got that sentimental connection as well to Brando. So yeah.
Totally.
And what do you hope people like the main message people take away when they listen to this album? What do you hope they realize or see?
Yeah, I just hope they feel like not alone with like a lot of the content in there. Like there's like some silly songs like Muffin of the Day, which I think, like, I love that song so much. I co-wrote that one with Aiden, who produced it, and mixed a lot of the songs on the album. And that's about like working in hospitality and just being so fed up with it, which, I think is completely relatable. And then there's like songs called Blue Raz, about vaping. And I really wanted a goal for me to have quit vaping by the time the album comes out, which I'm like I've nearly gotten there. I just bought a bunch of nicotine gum.
Well done. That's
So we'll see how that. Thank you so much. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I just want people to take away that it's like a very real like album and like piece of work. It's not censored, like everything in there is completely how I felt at one point in my life. And I just hope that like people can feel like it's just like such a nice feeling to feel like you're not alone and that someone else relates or empathizes with how you're feeling. So I just want people to feel comforted, and I hope they enjoy the sounds that accompany the comfort.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect message for people to take away. I think that's great.
Thank you.
Okay, and your tour, so the last stop is Brisbane, which is where you're from and would have been where it all started for you. And you've since played like festivals, huge crowds. How does it feel going back to where it all started for you?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm really glad that this one's finishing there, because it will be just such a nice feeling to be able to play to people, my friends and family mostly. But yeah, I guess it has been a while since I've done a headline. Well, it's been a while since I've done a release headline show here. So the last time would have been the Hate Goodbye tour in May, I think, last year. But yeah, I'm really keen. It feels like it's been a while. It's going to be super different to the last time they would have seen anything here in Meange in Brisbane. And yeah, just to see friends and family, it just feels like a big party, and it's just super nice and sweet. And to see the people that have supported me, like since I was, literally playing it in burger bars and stuff, and they still come to gigs, is just like such a nice little feeling, and it's such a nice little loop around like 360. And yeah, it means a lot to me. There's so much sentiment in playing here. So yeah, I'm really, really, really excited for that one.
Yeah, it sounds great. So it sounds great that's at the end of the tour as well. Perfect kickoff, I guess. Yeah. Cool.
Exactly.
And yeah, so Hottest 100, it looks like so many people voted for you, it was great to see you sharing everyone's votes. How does that feel compared to where you were at like musically this time last year?
Yeah, I mean, it is so nice. I actually wasn't expecting to be exposed to seeing like how many people were voting for me, because when they tag me and send it to me and whatnot. But it's such a nice feeling, like, that you only get 10 votes out of like heaps and heaps of songs that were released this year and were shared on the radio. And for me to be one of those is still something that I'll never really wrap my head around. It's easy to forget like what that actually means to me, because that's so nice. Like, I can't believe people like it enough to be included in their top 10. You only get 10, that's like 10 fingers, and one of them is me. Like, that's insane. So yeah, it's super sweet and super nice, and it just makes me appreciate how much people must actually like my music, which is an insane feeling, because going from like people listening to you or like supporting you just because you know them, like friends and family and stuff, to be going to like strangers who have like never met or had any interaction with, like getting tagged in their votes, like it obviously means they don't know me or anything. They know me through my music, and I'm one of their votes. It's like, that's super nice. Like, it means that I'm like on the right path to like doing exactly what I want to do, which is like making an impact with my music, and changing people's lives in whatever way that might be.
Yeah, I think that's great, especially seeing people vote for multiple songs too, because you've had like 3 releases in that time frame. To see people vote for like 2 singles or 3 of the releases has been incredible for you. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, thank you. It's really cool.
Okay, and yes, it seems like you've got a big year coming up. So you've got the album release, you've got the tour. What else do you plan to do this year? Like, what's it look like for you?
Definitely, like, yeah, the album, the tour. Would love to do more festivals, and yeah, would really love to do more festivals, because they're so much fun, and you just get, it's just such a nice community of people that are all there because they love music. And I want to do more festivals. I want to cook more, and I want to get back into bouldering. I want to do some climbing, and I want to start like recording my next album. That's like the main thing. I would love to start recording it, or at least like knowing exactly what I want to record. I'd love to travel more too, like whether that's music related or not. That would be really, really awesome. And collaborate more. Really want to co-write with a lot of artists, which I have been doing, which are like under wraps until something happens with them. But like really keen to do more of that, and just like, yeah, hang out with friends more, see family more, just all the New Year's resolutions that everyone kind of has.
Yes, yeah, sounds great plans. And make sure you take a well-deserved break because you have been like releasing a lot of music, and it's great to see that all out there.
Totally. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, no worries. Was there any other comments you want to add about like the release that we haven't covered today you want people to know?
No, I think you killed it. I think that was everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, look, it's a great album. I look forward to everyone else hearing it as well.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much, Brooke. It's so good to see you again.